Now we turn to the tensions in the Indo-Pacific region involving China and Taiwan. The U.S. commander for Pacific Air Forces is warning China may seize on the Ukraine crisis to do something provocative. Yet Taiwanese security officials say Chinese leader Xi Jinping is too focused on an upcoming meeting to extend his tenure to take military action at the moment. Here to give us some analysis is Grant Newsham, who is a former Marine officer, a lawyer, and a commentator on Asian affairs. Newsham says China is serious when it says it wants to take Taiwan back and that it has built up its military to the point where it is capable of launching an invasion.
The Chinese military really is greatly overpowers or outmatches the Taiwan military by itself. So it used to be 20 years ago that Taiwan actually had an advantage, but that has completely turned around, and the Chinese military has undergone the biggest, fastest buildup of any military since World War II, and some would suggest in human history. But Taiwan faces that overmatch from China, and it is a China and a Chinese Communist Party which has been very clear that it will bring Taiwan to heel, either by force or through persuasion. And it's not persuasion as we would say it, it's more intimidation. So that's where we stand, and the U.S. has to figure out what it's going to do.
Now, you mentioned the rise of China's military power. Is hardware enough for Taiwan to defend itself from China, or does Taiwan need to combat the psychological and media warfare from the CCP?
Well, it needs both. Hardware alone isn't enough, and you often get the impression from listening to the commentariat, the experts, that if Taiwan just buys some of this, some of that, doesn't buy this or that, that everything will be fine, as if there's a magic weapon that you can buy that guarantees your safety and security, and that's never been the case. Taiwan does need the right weapons, particularly these so-called long-range precision weapons, say, for example, anti-ship missiles that can shoot out 90 miles and crack a ship in half. But it also, as you've mentioned, it needs to work on, be careful about the political, the psychological threat that threatens to undermine Taiwan's will to resist. Chinese subversion has hit academia, the media, officialdom, even the military. So you do have to be careful of the Chinese efforts to win the cognitive battlefield, to subvert and demoralize the Taiwanese population.
Ukraine and Taiwan both have big neighbors that want to claim their territory, and Taiwan is watching the Ukraine crisis with anxiety. Can you explain exactly why this is?
Well, Taiwan sees Ukraine, and it sees a powerful, sort of aggressive country, bully, Russia, trying to take part of another country. And you can see the relevance to Taiwan's situation. But what Taiwan is really watching is to see what the response is of the Europeans and of the Americans in particular. Do they concede? Do they give the Russians some concessions just in hopes of having peace, of avoiding war? And so for the Taiwanese, the American, the European response to Russian aggression is very relevant. You know, trying to get a sense of how much backbone the Westerners have.